Let's run it. What's going on, traders? Just making sure this stream is set and actually working. A lot of connection issues this week, but gonna get that handled today. Anyway, let's jump right into it. Read what is on the screen right here, right now. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing you see or hear from me here or anywhere else is a recommendation or suggestion to do anything. If you trade, you're probably going to lose all of your money. Make sure you make your own trading decisions. You do your own research. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like code RDF, Top 1 Futures, bookmap. Let's jump on to these charts. Boom. Let's take a look at the stream. Stream looks good. What's going on, chat? Welcome, man. Yeah. Been a really interesting one, man. Really interesting one. Very frustrating dealing with connection issues. We have multiple internets at my home. I pay for some fast stuff. I don't like when it doesn't work. It's not working. I got a fresh company coming out tomorrow. We're going to get some fiber straight to the crib, and we won't have to deal with any of this BS. So, okay, yeah. So far, looks good. Listen, if it drops again, guys, it hasn't dropped yet, but if it drops off, I apologize in advance. You guys are real for hopping on with me, and I appreciate you. Now. Let's jump into some analysis. Cool. Let's see what's going on here today. Awesome. All right. Here we are on the ES chart. This is Top 1 Futures. We're looking at Project X right here, right now. I've got 350K straight to fundeds. Whoa, straight to fundeds getting copy traded together. Let's take a look at the daily. See where we're at coming into this fine Tuesday, May 20th. Hell of an uptrend, man. We have been on a strong trend to the upside. I like to zoom in on the daily chart, get a feel for these daily candles. We've been pushing day over day all the way through last week. Saw what happened yesterday for Monday, the open. Nice long wick to the downside, big bullish candle with a push above and close above prior day's high. Today in the overnight session, we did sweep above yesterday's high, but we've since turned and started to sell off a little bit. Not super aggressive, but looks like we do want to come down lower, at least right here, right now. Got a lot overlapping here from yesterday's volume levels and prior week's volume levels. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that 58.50 since we have value area low there. But if you have any questions on my chart, feel free to ask away. Dropping down to the 15-minute, we'll kind of take a look at yesterday's session and then into today. So yeah, overnight session from the open, right? It was gap down, continued to sell off. We pushed up higher. Again, I was no live session yesterday. Pushed up higher, really big bullish trend day, right from the open, right? Here's 9:30. We just really didn't take our foot off the gas at all. Overnight session opened up to the upside, right? Swept above that high, and then since sold off. It's the 15-minute chart. We stayed below VWAP really all the way through the overnight session into pre-market, and now we're selling back off down around that overnight low level, which is also value area low, prior week's value area high. So key level right down here, obviously worked as some resistance flipped support here yesterday, some support in the overnight session today. Going to be an interesting level that we're coming down into right here, right now. I could see 9:38 a.m. Yeah, I could see a really aggressive buy setting up. This is too early for me, just a little bit too early for me. I'm not going to jump into anything, as you guys know, right in the first 15 minutes. I like to let the gamblers, let the algos, let whoever just open the market up, crazy volatility, do whatever it's going to do, and then start to show its hand, maybe some direction. Or at least just get through that crazy volatility off of the open. So, hanging tight right here, taking a look at bookmap is not working for me. Again, connection issues, something causing a problem. So, I'm pulling a kind of bootleg move to take a look at order flow and liquidity. But I don't have my full bookmap chart up the way that I like, which is a disadvantage today. Definitely a disadvantage. Still going to trade, still going to put my trades on, wait for my setups, but not having my order flow tool over on the right-hand side is not fun. But just taking a look at the kind of bootleg way that I can do it in the meantime, since I spent the last half hour trying to get it set up. Yeah, looks like we got some at 955, right down around that overnight low level. Below that, we do have down into the 950s. We've got some, and then not too much below that. So I could see an aggressive buy off of the 950s. So that would be a sweep below this overnight low level. That would be, kind of idea number one. Looks like we do have some liquidity all the way up to the 75s and the 80s. That's not too far away from price, to the upside as well. So we're not terribly thin, looking to the upside and downside on price. But looks like we're headed right back towards VWAP. Now, we turn from here without hitting it. It would really set up for a nice buy, but we come back up above VWAP and then start to sell off again. I'm going to be cautious through that level. This would be the initial test of this level right down here into the 950s. I wouldn't mind a really aggressive buy for a bounce play off of that one. Okay, no test of VWAP. Let's see. 940, it's early. It's early, boys and girls. But good morning, chat. What's going on? Everybody, good morning. Greetings from Colombia. What's up, man? Second combine passed. Awesome. Straight to funded at one last week. Up 580. Nate, nice, man. Lock it up. You're done. Sounds like he's done for the day at 10 minutes into the open. I love that. Good morning, guys. Good morning. We got somebody else that won the live last week, the account last week. What's up? Good morning. First one on here. Yes, you are. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Smash like, smash subscribe. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do, but you want to help your boy out, support the channel. Boom. Subscribe for live trading every day. If you're new on here, you can't chat. I keep subscriber mode on. 2 hours. Try to keep the trolls out. Sometimes they find their way in. But subscribe for next time is what you can chat. So, yeah, I could see movement to the downside today. Again, this is kind of weak overall, so this could be a little bit of an aggressive buy from down here off the 50s. We opened up retesting VWAP, really staying below it into this pre-market move and then opening to the downside. So this could be pretty counter to what we have down here, but I don't mind it for a first play. I think we don't just break and completely sell off and knife down lower. I think we're likely to bounce back up, maybe come and check out these lows, prior lows broken in a downtrend, come back up towards VWAP, take everybody out if we are actually going to move lower and form a pretty gnarly bearish candle here today. I think, a sweep above these highs into the 75s, 80s, where we have quite a bit of liquidity, wouldn't be too bad. So I don't mind a buy off of a level down here, right? Very simple. Same stuff that you guys have been watching me do week in and week out. Key level down here, right? Right below that, down to the 50s, we got some liquidity. So I want to be cautious through that area there. Big round number, 950. But I wouldn't mind that for a buy. Filling liquidity, sweeping liquidity, coming back up, maybe back towards this middle ground, temporary volume point of control, VWAP. We don't do that. I could see a sell. I could see a sell off of, let's say, the 80s, maybe 85s, above VWAP, back down towards it. But the more we chop at VWAP, balance out, and then pick a direction, the less that I'm going to like this. So if we don't hit VWAP and sell off from here, I'm looking aggressively long. We come back up, trade through the 70s. It really invalidates this aggressive long play because we're not really, selling off and then stand a chance to bounce, right? We are pulling back up, nice break and retest structure. Now we're really continuing lower. I don't know that I want to step in front of that. But if we just kind of sell off at the open, I wouldn't mind a bounce play. Look at how I can turn that arrow right around right there. So let's see how this sets up. Again, still early, 9:43. Not going to pull anything too crazy. But that's my trades getting framed right now. Good morning. What's going on, guys? What's going on, chat? How are we doing? Again, if you're new, I trade live on here almost every damn day. My name's Zach. About 6 years in the markets. I don't claim to be the best trader. I don't claim to know it all, have all the answers, some magic strategy. I'm not on the leaderboards with all the live accounts and big P&Ls and payouts, but I'm happy to show you what real trading looks like for me every damn day here on YouTube. Wins, losses, break-evens, run-ups, payouts, blown accounts, everything in between. I also run a 100% free trading Discord. Not a VIP feeder program, no course or mentorship or, VIP deal from me. If you have somebody reach out like that and ask you for crypto, it's a scam, right? None of that stuff. So I've worked with guys in the past, one-on-one. I've done some different stuff. But right now and for the foreseeable future, it's free 99 across the board. If you want to support me, if you want to support yourself, I am partnered, affiliated. I can't stand to be unbiased if I stand to make money with awesome companies like Top One Futures and a handful of others. Top One Futures is 40% off, straight to funded, no evaluation, no challenge, no eval, right? No combine. Right into a funded account here on Project X. You could be funded with $450,000 in SIM capital today, trading towards taking a payout in as little as 5 days, which is pretty gnarly. But super bullish on Top One. Yeah, kind of finding some support. Sellers not wanting to take it down through this level. Interesting, chat. Interesting. And if you don't know, we run, nobody freak out yet. It's like everybody, like as soon as I say it, everybody starts to freak out. We run 50K instant funded account giveaways here on this live stream every week. Been giving out multiple. Got a little bit of a choppy week going on right now. We'll see what happens. But on Friday, Nate walked away, or no, it wasn't Nate on Friday. It was somebody else on Friday. Somebody else walked away with a 50K straight to funded account from Top One Futures. Super excited about that. Happy to do it. I have a bunch of fun giving stuff away. The chat always goes wild. You guys hype each other up. I really like it. I really enjoy it. Shout out Top One for supporting that. But every week on here, straight to funded, no evaluation. You don't have to pay an activation fee. 50K account giveaways. Random days, random times. I don't tell you ahead of time. It's only for the live stream. You got to be on here. I drop a form. No purchase necessary. You fill that out. You got a chance to win. That is the deal. Yeah, so watching us drift lower, man. Again, guys, like I talked about, if you hopped on late, looking for an aggressive long on a sweep of this overnight low, value area low. Okay, here we go. How do we enter in the giveaway? Just said it. I will repeat myself in a minute, but first I'm looking for a potential aggressive long play off of this level. So here's the 55s, guys. For better or for worse, I'm not going to take it from up here. I'm looking off of the 950s where we have another stack of liquidity down here. I'm going to make it orange because that's the color from bookmap. Looking off of this level right down around the 950s for a sweep of that level of liquidity. That would give me about 10-point stop down to the 940s. We start to sell off that far. I think we're coming all the way down through towards like the 935s, 930s. But this would be really aggressive. Let's see. Ooh, can we hit it? Can we hit it? Again, guys, looking aggressively long. While I don't have bookmap hooked up, I've got a bootleg version that I'm looking at something on the side that is showing me about 150 orders right here on the book. Oh, am I gonna miss it by inches? I've been getting a lot of this, and if you guys have been watching the live sessions, by a point, ES with a 5-point bounce. I've been having a lot of these, man. Very, very close entries. Coming off of bookmap, really key levels, obvious round psychological numbers too, right? Like you probably don't need bookmap to tell you that we're going to have some orders at 950, 5950, nice round psychological number, even number. Within a point on that one. Again, was looking for a sweep below this, not looking right above, just too much on the book down here. Even down to the 945s now, but I'm not going to let that scare me out of this trade. This is what I was eyeballing all morning so far for an aggressive long. Aggressive meaning prices selling off, and I'm buying counter to that sell-off, right? We got a break and retest now of this overnight low. I would have liked it off the first bounce much better, but I'm going to have to take this one if we come through these 950s. I'm going to give it a second just in case we knife lower. But I need to see these orders down here start to fill by us coming through this level, trading maybe a point lower. Let's see. Let's see how good the read is. If we bounce from here, again, not a missed trade, right? My level's not hit, the 950s. I've had a couple of these where I've gotten really close. I talk about, starting to FOMO into things, which is not a good thing to do. I've had a couple of these that have gotten really, really close and just not provided the entry. But got to wait patient. Got to let the market do whatever it's going to do. Let's look at the 15. Yeah, this could be aggressive, man. We could come right down through to the 35s. Next high area of volume, right? If I'm just looking at visible range volume profile here, that's where that's coming from. Down below that would be all the way down to the 900s, right? 900s even down here. But I'm going to try it from up here first. If we are going to break through the 50s all the way down to the 30s, my thought process that we're going to sweep this low, come back up to VWAP here is just invalidated. So it's not a bad trade. Here we go to come into it right now. Trading 51.5. Yeah, this could be dicey. This could be a dicey move now. That's going to be the bounce. Man, look at ES just not working for me, man. Not working with me at all. So again, guys, that's what I was looking at. Not even a point. 3/4 of a point away from my entry level. Wanting to see liquidity getting taken out here. That would be an easy $1,000 winner right there. Would have trailed on that, and it would have bounced super aggressively. You guys know my trade management style in these trades. Stop loss to break even very quickly, and then to trail up. This would probably be a max profit. I think we're going to go right back to VWAP on this. Yep. No missed trade, just no entry. Really, really, really close. I've had a lot of these that have been frustratingly close for me and what I'm waiting for, which tells me read of the market's right there. What I'm looking for movement out of the market is good. The intuition's good. Market's just getting really close and unfortunately just teasing me on entries multiple times. Oh, what a nightmare. What a nightmare. Yep, 3/4 of a point, not even one full point away from my entry, and then an immediate bounce of, if it hits like 15.25, that'd be $1,500. I would have been done for the day on one. 2 contracts loaded up. That would be right about that $1,500 level. Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one. Gonna be a tough one. Part of it though. Gonna sit here patient with you guys, wait for my entry to come. Extremely close on that one. Extremely close. Waiting for the 950s to get hit. We had quite a few orders on the book down there. I don't front run those with entries. Definitely with targets. I don't mind doing that. But there it is, directly back to VWAP. Jumping in before levels, scaling in. It's just FOMOing, right? Because if the thesis is we're going to bounce from a specific level, maybe filling, I want to stop loss, well below that. Entering before it gets there just doesn't make logical sense, right? Then the thesis would be, well, I think we're going to bounce before then. Yeah, that's my trade. So if you did believe this was going to continue lower, short off of VWAP from way back up here could absolutely be the play right here, right now. That could absolutely be it. But there was our sweep below value area low, prior week value area high, overnight low, really close to that 950. Right there, man. Right there. But that's why I like these trades, right? When they do work out, they work out quickly. If they don't work out, you're dead wrong and you're just going to get your face ripped off. So I like that. I can manage them really aggressively. Right there, 3/4 of a point today. That's just part of it, though. Just part of it. That would have been one and done in 10 seconds. Not 10 seconds, but extremely close. That would have been right to a max profit if this was shifted point lower. But what can you do? Wait for your levels. Wait for your stuff to get hit. Don't FOMO in. Don't pull anything stupid afterwards, right? A earlier version of me trading would now be chasing and buying up here or selling or doing something crazy. Just got to wait for your trades to come to you. So now at this point, right back up towards VWAP. I want to see what happens up here. I don't have a short off of this. I don't like a short from the middle ground of this. I think we could push to the upside. Come and check this out. If your thesis is we're going to sell off today, here it is, right? Bouncing off of VWAP, coming down lower. You could absolutely look short on this from up here. If you say, hey, Zach, there's still orders on the book down here, which there are at the 950s, 945s. We got a little bit. I think we're going to head lower down to this next level of high volume when we zoom out on the visible range volume profile. That's a fine trade for me. There's too much to the upside, 75s. I'm not looking short from the middle of this. I like a long from the extreme, a short from the extreme, back to VWAP. And that was my play. That was my beautiful play. Just did not hit the level that I needed for an entry. Very close. Very close, right? Part of it, man. Part of it. Trading's a game of, inches, game of ticks, right? Timing and entries and exits and stop loss placement and, take profit placement. It's key. It's very key. When something like that happens, again, for me, I don't journal that as any missed trade. I just journal it as a setup that was very, very close to triggering, right? Or to at least giving me the okay to now utilize my discretion and decide to enter or not enter, because I do that. But not enough. Just not enough, man. Close, but no cigar, as they say. But what's going on, chat? See you guys in here. Yeah, we got a bunch of people on, man. 1 day away from payouts on 3 accounts. Very nice. Very nice. Wednesday or Tuesday. Nice. Yeah, man. Yep. Long off that bounce. Was waiting for the same move. Yeah, man. Yeah, was waiting for it. Close. So damn close. Fun stuff. Fun stuff on ES here. Yeah, my only other potential option is like we continue to find buyers right here and you take it on a break back in. And it's just a different play. It's that we're going to do what we did and, we go stop loss like right below this level for a move to the upside. I just don't like that as much. I like the much more aggressive entry. And with liquidity sitting at a certain level, don't want to jump right in front of that. Doesn't make sense to do that to me. On more days than not, we fill this. We fill this by a point or two. But let's see what the market's got for us coming into the rest of the day. 9:58. We got time. Capital preserved, right? We're chilling. We come back down through this level, no trade, right? This was the move. That's the move. This is the entry. Now we are breaking and retesting. We come down towards this level. I think we break out to the downside, and it gives me no good way to structure risk, right? 16, 18 points just to get above the prior high, turning around at VWAP. So I definitely don't like that for any type of setup. Short on a fill like up here around the 980s, like I talked about earlier, sweeping above this level, coming back towards this area of higher volume from yesterday. I could see that for a really aggressive short, but that could be that could be a dicey one also. It's not really that initial bounce play. It's now we're sweeping liquidity, coming down lower, buyers taking this thing higher, and maybe flipping this into a nice bullish candle on the daily and continuing to the upside. So I don't like that one as much, but that's what I'm going to be waiting on here. See if I can't eyeball this bootleg book map that I'm using. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Well, while we are hanging, I'm going to throw this one in the chat for you guys. I realize I didn't throw it in at all. Top one futures. You guys know I yap about top one futures a lot. I'm hella bullish. I am very bullish on this firm. They're doing some solid stuff. Code RDF gets you this deal right here. The springtime promo. 40% off all accounts plus both add-ons free. No daily loss limit. You could utilize the entire size of the account from day one, all $6,000 for the 150K. That's your max loss limit, and anytime payouts. As soon as you qualify with consistency and having the amount of money that you need before you can take a payout, you can take a payout. No payout window. Solid stuff out of Top 1 Futures. You want to check it out. Link is in the chat. Support me. Support your boy. You don't have to do anything. Remember, I'm partnered, I'm affiliated. I can't stand to be unbiased if I stand to make money. Important for me to note that and for you to recognize that. ES, man. ES. Extremely close to an entry if you guys hopped on late. 3 ticks from an entry point for me. Right off the 950s where we had quite a bit of liquidity. Would be a sweep of all of these levels right down here and then a bounce back to VWAP. That played out. Just didn't hit my my entry level. Got to wait for a test of the level. Otherwise, I'm just jumping in all over the place. And I say, well, my entry is going to be arbitrarily before or after a level. There's a potential for a different type of entry. Like I said, waiting for bullish price action out of or around this area. And entering here with a stop loss just below. Not nearly as nice risk structure. But that was potential trade number 1. Played out beautifully, just didn't set up for me. Now, bounce off of VWAP, back down towards this level. It's being respected really, really cleanly. This could be a pump higher. I think if we wanted to come lower, sellers had a chance right here to take it. If we come back down through this, I think we're coming down to the 950s. Interested to see what happens down there. If we fill some liquidity, if we continue to sell off, like through the 40s, down to the 30s, or are we going to chop here, go check out, prior day point of control, maybe a little bit above that, or potentially turn this into a bullish day. So far, pretty weak in the overnight session after sweeping, yesterday's high. This looks like we could just be chopping around, a little bit of a pullback. We had a lot of movement yesterday, on the open of this week. No red folder news today. We have a bunch of Fed speakers, FOMC, not FOMC. A bunch of Fed speakers yapping today, but they're all, yellow folder, nothing crazy, nothing that, I'm really worrying about. So we could be in for kind of a choppy, rangy day today. So I'm not going to jump into anything crazy in the middle of this. Not going to, sell off a VWAP arbitrarily, although would have provided a nice setup here. Until we get up above VWAP, this is still looking pretty weak. But I think a next setup would be, I'd have to see what happens down here. I don't like this really long. If we break from up here again, I think that could be a movement way down to this level. So I don't like the aggressive long as much. It's just not really the play. We crack VWAP to the upside. I could see a long if this continues, right? I could potentially see a long, like through the 65s. That would be buyers really insisting to take this thing higher. And I think if we do that, we do have some liquidity up towards the 75 80s that I think we're likely to fill. We get up to the 75 80s, potentially a short from that level back down towards VWAP. But this isn't bad. Let's see if we get up around this level, man. I'm eyeballing a long off of this. Stop loss down below these levels. Because I think if we come back down, we're breaking through the 50s and we're headed lower towards the 40s. So I don't need a stop loss all the way down here to be invalidated. But I could see this for a pop through towards the 75s where we've got quite a bit of liquidity. You're going to come down through those 50s? That's my question. Okay, here we go. Seller's going to try it lower again. I'm actually tempted on this long. Okay, here's what we're waiting for. We come through this level really aggressively. I think we're coming through the 50s, and we're going to go fill to the downside. But before that, I'm actually tempted on this long. I don't know that we do it. Sellers had multiple chances here. We fail again. This is going to look decent for a long. We break right through. It's a short play, holding below VWAP, coming out of this area of high volume again. But it doesn't seem like sellers can do it, at least for right now. This would be a little bit aggressive as well, but this isn't bad. This is not bad. Liquidity up above that I think is going to get taken if we're going to move lower. But sellers are going to try it here. Back down to this level again that we've been dancing around at. Do we crack through really aggressively the 55s and come down to the 50s? I don't know, man. I'm tempted on this long with a stop loss down below this level. That says if we come down through those 50s, I think we're heading lower. But first we crack to the upside. Go check out that 75.
Order filled.
I'm going to try this bad boy long from down here, guys. A little bit of an aggressive play, right? I'm not waiting for price to break back above VWAP. Buyers have struggled to bring this thing higher, but I'm watching this as consolidation building, failure to get through this level that I was watching earlier on the book. We come down through this 50. I think we are aggressively selling off. So stop loss is just going to be right down here below this level. $1,000 worth of risk on playing this bad boy to the upside. Again, I got a delayed bookmap feed today, which is not great for me using bookmap quite a bit. But I like this to the upside. I think even if we are going to come down lower on the day, unless we do it right here, right now, which it looks like we might, I want to see this level held. It's held a couple times. Breaking this low could be dicey. But unless we come through this level pretty aggressively and start to sell off, I'm looking at a bounce towards the 75 level. I would go no take profit, which is the way that I usually run these. But it's going to play out pretty quickly, either to the downside. We're going to find buyers here before we come through these 50s right now, or it's going to rip my face off to the downside, and it's going to be a quick $1,000 L. But I still like this to the upside. I like it towards the 75s. Yeah, really right up there. Let me just in the case if we rip to the upside. If you guys know, I manage these trades pretty tightly. I drag stop losses to break even. I drag stop losses into profit. But just in case we did a quick wick up to the upside, which I'm not expecting, I've got an order in there. But again, I think if we come through the 50s, right, we come down to the 50s, I think we got a good chance to drop aggressively. And my level to the downside, which I'm trading against right now, would be this, right? You know, if we are not going to bounce, not come back above VWAP, not come up to this area of high volume, this is where I think we're headed next, right? So my stop loss would have to be way down here to say, I think we're going to find buyers here and then continue, right? So invalidation points just going to be right below lows of session. To the upside, a little bit more reasonable, we'd be right at, right at VWAP to kind of watch this, maybe find sellers if we start to push here. But so far, breaking down towards this level, dancing here, this could be a problem. But risk on, kind of the only play that I see setting up today, right? If we sell off really aggressively, I don't like the longs anymore. It's just going to be a stop and then wait. We find buyers all the way back up here. Do I want to sell as we're coming all the way through here and flipping potentially this to a bullish candle? Not really, right? Do I want to be selling like where, I'm looking at right now? If we have long wick to the downside, continuing all the way up here? No, I don't. So playing this to the upside, not finding buyers just yet. We do have liquidity down at those 50s. That could be a problem. It could be one more sweep of that low before a bounce to the upside. But that's not really the play. So let me stop zooming out and in so many times. Try not to fat finger anything. Fix VWAP. But that's going to be trade number one for me. See if we can't get a push to the upside on this bad boy. Long two from 59.59. My stop is at 59.49. 10 points of risk to the upside. Again, I'm going to try not to get ripped through to the upside. As you guys know, I really don't run a fixed TP, fixed stop because I drag a stop up. If we move into profit, as we move lower, it's going to be a full stop or a profitable trade. That's pretty much it. So let's see. See what we get. But trades on with you guys. I've had a couple no trade sessions. I don't love to do that. I don't really like to hop on here, hang out with you guys, and just talk the whole time, right? It's not that fun. So we got a trade on. We'll have some action. We'll get a winner or loss rolling. See what this Tuesday, May 20th has got for us. But appreciate you guys hopping on. As always, man. Smash like, smash subscribe. Yeah, guys, I see you asking about the giveaway. Remember, random days, random times. No giveaway just yet. If there is a giveaway today, which I don't tell you ahead of time, random form drops, no purchase necessary. You got to fill the form out. You get a chance to win. I announce it while we're on here. Random days, random times. It's for you guys on the live sessions that are hanging out, supporting me, supporting yourself, just being part of the community. But that's how I do it. Random days, random times. Ooh, man, buyer's not able to rip this thing higher. Yeah, this could be dicey. Sellers continuing to try to take this thing down. Orders down at the 950s have really stayed on the book. Again, I'm working with a delayed order flow tool here because I don't have bookmap up and running. I was yapping about connection issues earlier. Hoping to have all of that fixed by today. I am big on having good equipment, fast internet speed, fast connection, especially for streaming, and super frustrating this week. But should have some fast gig speed fiber dedicated line. That's what I'm trying to pay for here. Yeah, because this is like super delayed. This is like almost not helpful. But you deal what you got to deal with, right? You can make a decision to just not trade if you're having, any kind of technical issues, if something's not working the way that you want it to work. You could try to work with it and just be a little bit limited. Like I'm a little bit handicapped today. I don't have my bookmap software up on the right-hand side. I don't have my, real fast data, level 2 data getting displayed, and I'm relying heavier on the, candlestick chart. I get a little bit of a delayed data stream just to kind of take a look at where large orders might be, but it's not it's obviously not the same. So anyway, back up towards entry on this. Found some buyers again down around this level. We come through these lows, it's gonna be tough. It's probably gonna be lights out. We come down through these 53s again. I think we're gonna start to fill liquidity. We're going to see some volatility to the downside. Conversely, if buyers can start to take this thing higher, it doesn't look bad. From what I'm seeing on this delayed data feed, we've got some orders, about 152 or so at the 62s. Again, it's not mine, so I can't really tell where algos are on this type of deal. It's the Trade Map Pro, which I'm not really comfortable with. Looks like we've got it up to the 70s and then the 75s to the upside, so I don't mind this. Again, as we move towards VWAP, I'm going to go stop loss to break even, if not profit. We start to get up above VWAP. If we do, right? If we don't just come right down and take me out. If we do, I'm going to look for stop loss towards profit, right? Because I would want to break above that level pretty aggressively here. But so far, just kind of holding downtrend structure, drifting. Not a lot of volume, not a lot of volatility. Like I said, I think I could pick up really aggressively if we start to come lower. And same if we start to go higher. Right, I think we can see volatility either way off of this level. We've been hanging out down here quite a bit. Obviously, some transacting being done. I think we're going to get a decision made either to sweep this low and bounce, which that would be painful, but part of it, or start to break down through. And again, I think if we start to break down through, it's my invalidation point, right? I do think we come down through maybe the 40s where we have, looks like another 130 something on the book down there. But to the upside, I like it towards the 75s, 80s, if we can get through VWAP. Let's see what we can do here on ES. But what do we remember, guys? We put our trades on, right? We structure our risk. We place a stop loss. Like where I have that stop loss, I say, you know what? I know anybody can sneeze. Trump can say tariff, the dreaded T word, and it can rip right to my level, right through my stop loss, and I could take on $1,000 or more worth of loss, right? I'm very comfortable. I accept that on the front end. I say, if I end up red on this trade, I waited, did what I was supposed to do, no problem, right? I'm okay with that. I sleep happy at night. If you're not comfortable taking that loss, you got too much risk on, right? Or it's not a good trade for you. For me, you got to be comfortable on the front end. Here we go, a little bit of a push. This is going to be a challenging point. We got to get back up above VWAP for this thing to really look decent to me. But again, in these markets, they're very difficult to deal with. They're fast moving. Headline markets is what they're called, meaning they're reacting to headlines as they come out very quickly. It is ever important to run a stop loss, to be comfortable with wherever you place that stop loss, and then to run a risk per day. So for me, at this level, $1,000 trading 2 minis, I'm probably not going to want to take more than 2 L's back to back, right? If I take $1,000 loss and then I find another setup and I take another $1,000 loss, that's going to be it, for me. Again, I'm a little dynamic. I consider myself a little bit more advanced, but 99% of traders, including myself, really want to have a fixed personal daily loss limit, right? What are you going to lose before you are done for the day? Is it 500? Is it 200? Is it 5,000? What is that level? if you don't have that in mind and you're not comfortable with it, you're going to exceed it, right? And then when you exceed it, you're going to be upset about it. So limit your downside, structure your upside as well, especially if you're in these accounts with consistency rules, like we are right here on Top One. This is a instant funded an account with 3 accounts that I'm copy trading with 20% consistency rule, meaning no single day of profit can be over 20% of your total profit when you go to take a withdrawal. So you got to have an idea of what your trades are going to look like to the upside also. You can't put up a $10,000 day, unless you want to put up massive profit before you take a payout. So that's my thought process, right? As I let this one play out towards a winner where I'm going to manage it to the upside. And then as I manage it, I better accept the risk, right? If I go stop loss to break even, I better be very comfortable taking a break even and then maybe watching it move in my direction or watching it move against me. If I move it into profit, I get stopped, it continues. I better be really comfortable taking that small stop, right? That's all part of it. And I think the more I trade, the farther along I go, the more important that becomes. Whatever you do, understand market's going to be very unpredictable, right? And your job is not to predict what's going to happen next with 100% accuracy. It's to put your trades on, structure your risk. Here we go. Manage that risk, but more importantly than anything, accept what you are doing on the front end. Accept you don't know what's going to happen next. I'm getting ready to drag this. Here we are back to VWAP. Getting ready to drag this as we crack above VWAP. I'm going to tighten up on this bad boy, really wanting to see a push through. Let's see. Can we get about... Waiting to drag this one into profit. If we can start to crack through VWAP, we're filling liquidity right now to the upside. This is the risk management tool I want from somebody on X. Hang on one second. So we filled some liquidity at the... How quick can I be with this? Filled some liquidity at bookmap here, on bookmap, to the upside. Can we continue through towards the 70s? I think we can. This is the problem that I'm going to have now with not having bookmap. I'm constantly refreshing a page, putting it in fast play mode. Oh, God. Here we go. I'm not going to be fast enough. Where's the liquidity? Come on. Come on. Wait a minute. All right. Back up. Trading 64s. That's delayed as all heck. 70s we got 137 on the book, 105 at the 75s. Yeah, I want to see this thing crack VWAP and then potentially start to continue to the upside. I'm going to drag stop into profit. That was a pullback down. Yeah, I like to go, I like to go into profit with these. Something I was talking about in Discord as well. Working with one of the best traders in the prop space, who I'll give you more details on. You can guess who I'm talking about. Has a really aggressive management style here on ES, and it's something that I've been emulating and working on myself in my own trading here. It's worked very, very well in forward testing over the last few weeks. It's definitely a point that I've constantly looked to improve on, and I don't care to give. Almost got it. Do I have to go break even on this? Yeah, I do. This is going to be tough, man, because I do think we're going to push on this, but I can't let this come all the way back on me. I hate where my entry is compared to where this thing is on bookmap. This delayed ass bookmap, bootleg bookmap that I'm working with right now. I'm going to hold for a break through this level. 6 points in profit. Yeah, not quite it. I got to go stop loss to break even on this one now. I can't let it bounce from VWAP and then rip my face off to the downside. That would just be too clean downtrend structure. I do think we're likely to return to this level first and then potentially continue. It's a stop loss to break even at this point, though. Very close to dragging into profit and hanging on to it, but I try to make my my stop loss like a chess piece, right? If I start to move it into profit, if I move it to break even, the last thing I want to do from here now is move it back down or start moving it farther away. I think it just opens up the door for not great trading. So this looks like it's going to be a stop at break even. Showed me about $600 in profit. Not enough to capture it. Another couple points, and I'm stop loss to $450. Here we go. Stop at break even. I still think this is going to head towards the 70s, the 75s. But I got to stick to some consistent trade management, and that one's going to be break even. So let's see what we get here. A little bit faster on bookmap, maybe, if I'm not dealing with this bootleg bookmap deal, and I can manage that a little bit better. But break even. Living to fight another day. Again, I like the trade. Decent execution. My gut tells me that this is going to rip, but I've got to apply some consistency, and I talk about this. I want myself, I know I need to become more consistent and less discretionary, more mechanical, more systematic with trade management, because I find it is good to have that intuition, to have that discretion to a degree. But if you apply it too much and your data shows that you're a little bit too inconsistent in that area, you got to stick to something a little bit more mechanical, a little bit less subjective. And for me, it's going to be dragging and being aggressive on these entries, right? They're larger size. The thing moves, $600 into profit. I don't know that I want to let that come all the way back down to be $1,000 loss, right? I want to preserve capital. And you can watch how that played out for me on Friday, right? You can go back and watch. I took 2 stop outs for break even that would have been full losses. And then I took a third trade, preserved capital all the way, then took a third trade that ended up being a nice winner. So does it work out that way? Not always. And I got a feeling this one's going to go to 75. But again, I got to stick to my guns and apply some consistency. Otherwise, I'm all over the map. But, just a difficult day, man. This would have been a beautiful bounce play to the upside. This would have been a really, really nice win. Here we go back up to VWAP on this one. Ticked me out at break even. Right back up towards VWAP. We'll see what we get out of this. Let's see. That's skewed data, Zach. I don't know what that means. But Mr. Grick, you can elaborate. Signed up on what? But I got this content is not available right now. Yeah, man, that link works. I have people hopping in nonstop. But let me know. If you continue to have that, feel free to let me know. I will post the link right in here. But people jumping in and joining all day, every day tells me that it is working. Here is the free Discord. Bookmap Global Plus have everything we need for futures. Yes. Bookmap Global Plus is solid. That is the best. If you guys don't know, I'm affiliated with Bookmap. I always talk about when I'm partnered and affiliated with something so you understand that I am biased. I can't be unbiased. Here is my link, my affiliate link to Bookmap. You want to check that out. It provides the best discounts. You would need Global and or Global Plus, or Global or Global Plus. You wouldn't have and data, right? You need level 2 data, a subscription, which is separate. Awesome execution. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, great trade. Yeah. Now it's looking like awesome execution, right? Now that we pulled back all the way down, let's see if we go and clear me out. I'll feel really good about that. But there's the rejection, right? Is there region restrictions? No, I don't think so for Whoop. No. Morning. Lots of back-to-back meetings. I'm hoping hopping on as I can. I got you. Today's cash. Don't know. We're not sure. Who will the special guest be? You're going to have to tune in and find out. I have 3 people on the board, 3 different traders so far that are coming on in the next couple weeks. Was supposed to have somebody on today. My connection's been all jacked up, so it's been all over the place. There's no data announced. Oh, no giveaway announced. Yeah. Morning. Giveaway. No giveaway yet, guys. No giveaway yet. Random days, random times. I know everybody loves the giveaways. I love them too. You wouldn't have two stop outs. The first play wouldn't have hit stop loss. It wasn't until you took it again would have hit stop loss, and the next trade would have been a huge winner. Net score 1 - 1 net plus. Mystic Rick, yeah. If I was in the first trade and I didn't get stopped at break even, would I have taken the second trade? No. So technically it would have been one stop out, correct. Both trades that I took initially that got stopped at break even would have been stop losses individually. So I don't mean to misspeak on that, but the thought process that I'm talking about, not to get into nuances, is in the third one wasn't a huge winner. It was a trail out that would have been a larger winner had I not aggressively managed it. But again, all that's live for you guys to review. What I'm trying to point out, right, is on trade management. As you manage your trade, yeah, for sure. But you're correct. You're correct on that, right? And it's important to understand that. But what I like to look at is for trade management, right? And this is the simple way that I do it. There's a million different ways. When I review each individual trade, set up an idea. What happened after I took the trade? How did I manage the trade? And if I did something differently and I was doing something differently consistently, would that generate a better result? So very simple, right? We talk about stop loss to break even all the time. If I go stop loss to break even at a certain point on all of my trades, is that helping me in the next 50 trades or is it hurting me? Is it helping me, meaning that when I go stop loss to break even, more often than not, it could be a very small percent, those trades continue all the way to my stop loss? And we're going to find out right now on this one, right? Or more often than not, do they continue into profit after returning to my entry? That tells you how you should be managing your trades. As you trail into profit, is that helping you, right? Are you capturing a nice solid P&L over a large sample size of trades? And it's difficult because the market changes, the conditions change, and you have these strings that will show you, that will feel like you're doing something wrong. And you got to remember, you're never going to get it right every single day, right? Monday, you're probably going to like hindsight capital. Monday, don't go stop loss to break even. Tuesday, trail it up perfectly. Wednesday, run a 100-point stop loss and just let it come into drawdown and then back up to you. Obviously, you can't change it every day. So doing something consistently, what works best over a large sample size of trades? And I think you get that from reviewing. And again, it depends on your entry style, the thesis of the trade. Like for me personally, I'm almost the exact opposite of this on the higher time frames, right? On a 15-minute chart, really zoomed out, which is subjective anyway, because who the hell knows how zoomed in or out you are. But if I'm trading for trades, let's say with a much wider stop loss, wider take profit, smaller position size that I'm typically going to hold for 10 times as long, almost all day, I've found that my data shows going stop loss to break even doesn't help me. I got to run a wide, for that type of entry, continuation for the most part, a wide stop loss, wide take profit, let the trade breathe. It comes back and forth, it chops around, and then oftentimes moves to take profit or stop loss. But what my data showed me looking at those were I would get stopped at break even all of the time, trying to protect capital, and then the trade would continue in my direction while I'm hurting myself. I have to realize more full stop outs on the way to even more full take profits, right? Or just larger profits. So that's the thought process, right? Very simple. Reviewing and doing a little bit more of what's working, a little bit less of what's not working. And again, I think everybody's data is going to be really useful to them, particularly, personally. Your stuff's going to be different than mine. And that's why I don't think like when guys say, go stop loss to break even, don't go to stop loss to break even, or trail stop loss, or there's one best way to manage your trades. I don't think so, right? Because I don't know how you trade. I don't know what your stop loss size is to begin with. Are you trading with a 5-point stop loss or a 50-point stop loss? How long are you holding those trades? What kind of trade? Is it a continuation of a trend? Is it a reversal? Are you scalping? Are you swing trading? Like, what's your personality also? It also has to be practical, right? You might be somebody that can't hang on to trades. You're not going to have a strong suit and playing to the strong suit of protecting capital and dragging that stop loss is going to make sense because you're just not going to manage trades well the other way. You might be somebody like me that can hold trades and say, yeah, hang out, man. Let that thing come all the way back on me. I'll hang out with you guys all the way into profit, all the way into loss, and then all the way back. And that might be good for you. And you might be really like not wanting to manage the trades a lot, just personality-wise, practicality-wise. So I don't think there's one best way. We're just same as the way that I think about a lot of trading. I don't think there's one best indicator or tool. I think there's things that make sense a little bit more and things that make a little bit less sense. Like if you were to argue, always drag your take profit closer and closer and closer to your entry and always drag your stop loss farther and farther away as it moves into drawdown and add, it might be an interesting way to manage risk, and that might work for you. But I'd say in general, that's a very risky move. I don't think a lot of guys are going to do well with that. But outside of like the extremes, and even that can work. Like averaging down can work. I've watched guys hedge and do all this, crazy nonsense. So just find what works for you. Track your data, right? What's working, what's not working. A little bit more of what's working, a little bit less of what's not working. But it's always going to be specific to you and your entry style, whatever strategy and approach you're trading, your everything. So for me personally on this, again, I'm adapting and I'm utilizing a really interesting dragging stop loss into profit aggressively. I've kind of got my own stop loss to break even movement going on in here, which I'm still watching, right? And over a large sample size, I might decide and say, hey, you know what? It's either going to be a full loss, small win, large win. And I think that might be the way that I go in the future, despite taking larger, stop outs. But yeah, you just got to, review your data. Screenshots with a position tool, right? Watch what happens afterwards. Does, do 7 out of 10 hit your entry and then go to stop loss, and only 3 out of 10 hit your entry and go to take profit? Stop loss to break even. Is it the opposite? Don't go stop loss to break even, right? But recognize, yeah, you're going to take more full stop outs on the way to those full take profits. Does trailing make sense for you, right? Does not touching it at all make the most sense? Because you mismanage it, and practically you can't manage trades while they're on. That's a lot of, a lot of beginners can't do that at all. And so it's best really, because maybe it's not best for the P&L, but just because they're going to jack it up, to not touch it, to go take profit and, and stop loss and just not touch it at all, because that's going to work decently, and anything else in between, they're going to jack it up. So there's a practical piece to this, right? Can you actually execute in the way that you're going to try to execute? The more times you got to touch the trade and adjust, more room for error there is. So, but yeah, trade management's key, man. Just put a YouTube video on it, looking at 3 different styles, not touching it, scaling out, and trailing. Yeah. True, gotcha. I have the same issue. I take so many break evens when I should just hold majority of the time and keep regular stop loss in place. Let the trade work out, even though it takes all day sometimes. Now it looks like chop. Yeah, this is kind of back and forth below VWAP. All valid points. It's useful. Valet. I'm guessing valid. But yeah, man. Rick, like, that's what the data is showing you, right? So I would encourage you to try to do that. Stick to what your data is showing you, right? And if it's showing you to run those trades all dang day, and that's going to be the best thing for you and your system, if you can handle that, then it works, But again, there's that practical piece in there, right? Like, your data might show that running a crazy low win rate, yeah, here we go to the upside, crazy low win rate, crazy, high risk to reward might work best. But from a practical standpoint, what it looks like to actually trade like a 20%, win rate system could be very, very difficult, so you might not be able to go to that extreme. But I do think it's important to adjust and to do more of what's working, less of what's not working. Data's not going to lie to you, especially if you do something really consistently day in and day out. But I think this is going to be an example here, watching this come back towards VWAP, of a trade that would not have stopped me out and would have continued into profit. Yep. So right there through VWAP, here we go. entry was down here somewhere. What did I say? 59 and stop was at 49. So here's the data for this one. Literally ticked out right here to the tick. This is the low of this candle is 59.59. Now, I would have obviously been hit had I held on longer and we came all the way through. But my entry was 59.59. Stop at 49, 10 points. Would not have been stopped out. And now here we are all the way back, showing me 9 points of profit, right? And what I could say on the second half of this trailing that I'm doing, and really the only thing that I'm adjusting is actually not helping me, which is stop loss to break even. But stop loss into profit seems like the way to go. It was close here. I'm not going to go over the exact number because I don't have it in front of me here, but yeah, man, as we cracked VWAP like that, would have been stopped back up here, maybe a $500 winner. If it comes back down, we come all the way back up to the 70s, the 75s without coming back down. It would definitely be a larger winner. So, you know, this one gets filed like we're talking about under the stop loss to break even did not help. So again, you get a ton of those or you get slightly more often than not. That's happening. I got to leave that bad boy, right? And on some days, I got to take the $1,000 loss, right? On Friday, I got to take the $1,000 L, you know, in the pursuit of having this one be the $1,000 winner or the $1,500 winner, you know, because maybe this is happening more often than not. But data collection and review, that's the way to do it. I think trade management is key, man, really key. What you do after you put the trade on, equal to, if not more important than what you do before you put the trade on, right? Because you can just have a great strategy with a great edge. And if you can't hold the trades or manage the trades well, you turn every winner into a loser, right? You're constantly closing, you know, down here for $500 loss before the thing moves $1,000 into profit, right? You know, even though your entries are solid. So yeah, I'm of the belief still that I'm close. I'm close on these, on going stop loss to break even around 0.5 to 1. And that helping, but it's right there, man. And here's another one to be filed underneath. And I think what I'm really going to move to, and this is kind of just my thought process out loud, is dragging into profit, really aggressively dragging into profit, generating often smaller wins, right? Because you're trailed out often before the trade really gets to take off and move in your direction, or full stops by not going stop loss to break even in medium profit. But 6 points on a 10-point stop, not that bad. Not that bad. That was the initial movement. So, yeah, man, that's where my head's at with it. Trust your data. Review your data. A little bit more of what's working, a little bit less of what's not. Try not to have recency bias. VIX is starting to drop, looking like a long if we can hold above VWAP. Yeah, man. I like this long to 75, right? We left this on the book down here. We held this level. Here's key levels from, you know, the chart that I take from value area low, prior week value area high, overnight low, right? This is simple stuff. This is not proprietary to me. Again, I use the basic stuff. I use what works, what I find. I think the way most guys do. Value area levels, you know, volume levels, very, very useful for me. I've really adapted to that coming to the futures market. And then bookmap. And bookmap is looking like trash for me because I don't have it open. I'm using a bootleg version of it. But we are, still have orders up to the 70s, 75s, 80s. So thesis was after we left this on the book down here, the 50s, failed to go lower, and then started to come back up, you know, getting long, right? Right in here somewhere, right? I like that trade. And I think the read is decent. Not anticipating us to just rip lower, even if we are going to come lower, come clean everybody out to the upside first, and then continue lower, or not come any lower and just flip this long. You know, we've been ripping everybody to the upside. It's been very, very bullish price action and market structure on the higher time frames in the U.S. indices. So I do like the longs. I like the stock. But yeah. So stop out for break even. No harm, no foul. Unfortunately, watching one that would have been a, again, so far probably not stopped. At all. 59.50. Excuse me, 59.59 entry, right? Yeah. 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 Take profit was somewhere up here into the 75s, right? I think I had like 1,525 showing, somewhere around that level. Watching it play out to the upside. Yeah, long play. Long play. Didn't trust shorts on this one. Didn't like the movement off of VWAP. Could have sold off of VWAP multiple times up here though, and still collected some nice profit. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, watching this one come up into the 70s. So filling some liquidity up here. Do we crack to the 75s? I think so. We'll see if that 75 level gets hit right below it where take profit would be. Now, follow-up trade, I just don't have one. This could be a nice long. You know, if you're like, hey, this is going to move higher now. We're going to continue the upside. I could absolutely see it. Just not a good risk structure, right? Like, where do you throw a stop loss on this thing that really allows it to pull back a reasonable amount? I don't know. That's why I don't have a long play. Off the 80s, I could see a potential movement back down, but I don't know that I like that short from up there. Not after this type of movement. This is going to show strength, crack above VWAP, hold, come out of this area of high volume, continue the upside. You know, if we're just going to chop, I could see it up around the 80s, right? I feel if we come higher than that, we are going to flip this nice and bullish, and we're going to continue, maybe go check out the 6,000 level here on this ES contract. So not terrible towards the 75 to 80s for an aggressive short, but I'm going to have to see what happens up here. It's valid. You know, it's valid for me. If we trade towards the 80s and then maybe start to get some hesitation, I could see that, but it's not as clean. You know, stop loss just above yesterday's high. For a move back down towards VWAP for a choppy day. You could definitely see that. But we're going to have to see, man. Appreciate you guys hopping on with me. Stop loss to break even, small green, enough to go buy a bag of chips from the local bodega. Live all week, guys, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Free here, free in Discord, free across the map. Catch me on socials. You know, link at the top of this chat if you want to check out Top 1 Futures, straight to funded. Remember, guys, I'm partnered, I'm affiliated. I stand to make money from that link, from that code. Important for me to note that. Do your own research, make your own decisions. Right now, and I don't know when it's cutting off, they are 40% off plus both anytime payouts. Both add-ons, anytime payouts, and no daily loss limit. That is what Top 1 Futures has rolling. If you want to check out Tradeify, 35% off right now. I think they're still 35 or 40% off. Yeah, 35% off all accounts. That's a little bit steeper than what they had going on for straight to funded as well. Whole bunch of other options. Take Profit Trader. You can get another badass discount down there, but obviously I'm heavy bullish on Top 1. Heavy bullish on Top 1. Hanging out, watching this market chop, man. I'll tell you the banger that I can't keep taking my eyes off. This was it right here, man. Ooh, 3 ticks from a 950, right? 3 ticks from an entry. That would have been very clean to the upside. Very, very clean. This one, not bad. Looks like it would have played out for a nice full take profit. But again, you know, reassess, look at the data, and then I'll have to decide, do I want to have something very fixed, very systematic? Do I want to have something that allows for some discretion? I'm looking at getting, like I talked about, more consistent, more systematic with my trade management. And it's actually something I threw on Twitter, on X, asking if anybody is a coder, developer, programmer, whatever you call a person that codes bots. Maybe there's someone on here. If you can code for Project X, I don't know what they allow, but you can go to the Project X website. API is opened up. You're allowed to build custom risk tools, and nobody's doing it yet. I just figured that people would start to do it, and I would buy whatever they're doing, but nobody's doing it. So hit me up. I got a job for you if you can code. It's probably pretty simple because I'm not asking for anything really complex. It would be the same stuff that you see on other trading platforms. Very, very simple. That would allow me to utilize some really consistent risk management settings. So yeah, let me know if, or at least to test. Let me know if anybody on here codes or codes or programs or develops or whatever that is called. Hit me up in Discord. Hit me up. support@realdealfutures.com. We can talk about that. But API access is opened up for Project X now. This is Project X, what we're on. So you're able to build, which is pretty cool. Again, I figured people would do it right off the bat, kind of like everybody's sleeping on it right now. So I'm sure that somebody is building, and it's going to be a suite of things that you can purchase and license. But maybe somebody is smart enough and can handle it. 1050, one trade for break even, one really close entry. I just want to see what happens as we start to crack. If we start to crack towards the 75, 80s, kind of see what might happen up there. I'm still going to continue to play this from the extremes off of the first test of these levels. I could see a push up there and then a turn back down towards VWAP. So that's kind of what I'm looking for now. I don't like it short from up here. I don't like it long from up here. I don't have a good way to structure risk either way. So I'm in sit and wait mode. Sit and wait. AD thumbs up. All good, bro. Like the stream. Appreciate you guys. Long 58, stop 65. Just trail by candle formation. Beautiful. Very nice, man. Send it, Rusty. Very nice. Very nice. Long from 58. Stop is at 65. Very nice. Yeah. Absolutely. Looks like you might take a stop coming up soon, right at VWAP, but that's a safe spot to put it, right? We start to come back down through VWAP. That could be dicey. Yeah, but kind of choppy so far, right? Swept the lows. I don't know if we get a lot of movement. No no red folder news, just a lot of Fed speakers. Large movement last week, large movement yesterday. No news Tuesday. Choppy could be the play here. I try not to carry too much bias, but I like to be aware of what's going on fundamentally just a little bit. Are we ripping to the upside, ripping to the downside? Do we have crazy, Trump speech at 10:30 a.m.? Maybe I don't want to trade through that. We really don't have any of that right now. So back down towards VWAP so far. Again, I still like this gun to my head long. I still like this long towards the 75s, right? That was my initial play. Potentially the 80s. But interested to see what we get out of this. We come back down and chop around here. This is going to look real ugly. Yeah, but so far, that's a very, very strong movement to the upside. Failure to continue down to the downside. Do we crack? Do we crack out of here and start to push? When we do we get follow through? Do we kind of just push up here to the 75s and then wick right back down in? That would be my reversion play. Back down towards VWAP, or at least a pull back down towards this area of high volume, the 70s. Or do we just come back down and chop? We get a little bit of a choppy day. Time will tell. Time will tell. Got me a 67. There you go. Nice. Solid win, right? Picked up, 10 points? 9 points? Nothing wrong with that, dude. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm still looking at this for a break to the upside. Getting a little bit choppy down here. Little bit of indecision on this bad boy, but doesn't look terrible. We come back down to this area, start chopping around. Maybe we continue to the upside after pulling back down, but it could start to get dicey. Let's check bookmap the back end way that I'm doing it, unfortunately, because it's not loading for me on my end. It's a connection issue. Let's just see what liquidity looks like. Again, if you guys don't know what bookmap is, it is an order flow software. You feed in level 2 data. You get a depth of market. It gives you live liquidity, resting orders above and below price, larger than surrounding price levels. Quantities that are larger than surrounding price levels above and below price. Yeah, 75, still 136 on the book. We start to sell off. We got it down to the 950s again. I think we can quickly return to that area. That's really stayed on the book all day. Choppy up here. Choppy up here. But again, guys, while we're hanging, top 1 futures, 40% off, straight to funded, no daily loss limit, anytime payouts free. Links in the chat. You want to check this out. That's what I'm trading live with you guys here, right now. Super bullish on the Project X straight to funded combo. Super hyped on that. Why not try YM? If you're asking me personally, I don't like to swap between things that much. I've traded YM quite a bit, especially in my past life working on CFDs and Forex firms before I got scammed out and decided to come over to futures. But I really find, and I continue to have this reinforced to me, that if I focus on one thing, one instrument, although it's obviously not as much opportunity, I become a much better trader on that specific instrument. I become an expert at price action, market structure. I build more intuition, more discretion, more implicit memory, watching one thing day in and day out, specifically one time frame. I just think that that's kind of an objective way to think about it, right? Like, is the Raja, if that's how I pronounce your name correctly, who watches YM, ES, NQ, gold, oil, and lean hogs and corn, is that version of you as good at trading ES as the version that just watches ES on the 1-minute chart every day? I would argue no. I would argue, that chart is going to be, you're going to be a better trader specifically watching one. Now, are you going to have the same opportunities? No, right? You're staring at one chart. If it's consolidating and gold's ripping, you're not trading gold. You don't know about that. But low time frames here for the NYSE Open, I think it's really important to have just a ton of screen time. And that's personal. I don't think as many guys will be as strict as I am on watching one thing. But most of the really solid traders that I see, it's one or like 2 or 3 on the high end, right? And I come from doing something different in the past, watching, higher time frame Forex pairs and, equities. And it can get a little dicey. They all move a little bit differently, right? They all have these different nuances. So here we come back down. Before we hit the 75s, close to prior day point of control, right back down to the temporary volume point of control. Now, do we pull back here and then bounce again? Do we come through the lows? What's the vibe here? Still watching with you guys for a little bit longer. I'm gonna hang. Stop loss for break even trade. One trade for break even, so not a lot. But I'll be watching into the afternoon, and set some trading view alerts. What scam is that in the past? Yeah, so if you weren't aware of what was going on a couple of years ago in the Forex prop firm space, especially for U.S. traders, we all started to get screwed. MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5 started to pull licenses. But aside from that, there was just an influx of straight up scam companies. And I was pretty green at that time, meaning I just didn't know as much. I was dumber. I didn't really wasn't able to read red flags the way that I can read now. Here we go, selling off pretty aggressively here. But I was in the middle of trading was it my Forex funds, MFF, I think it was. Market is broken. Yeah, I was in the middle of doing well on a 300K challenge with that company that was like, I think like $1,250 at the time, and just straight up they went under, or they got accused of fraud, whatever it was. I went to log in, right, and I didn't have what I paid for. Gone. Tried to wait, couldn't get that back. I tried to dispute it with my credit card company. Even a really good credit card company, they couldn't help me. So just completely out of my money on there. No repercussion for them. And then additional would be, and again, I don't like to really name or talk shit about anything. Excuse my language. But Cortana. Cortana was it's probably still around, but they had these HFT pass, right? Where essentially there was no instant funded back then, but you could use now a bot to immediately pass, right? You could only use it to pass. I got my hands on a bot, which was really cool. It was fun. It worked. And then I said, okay, you know what? Maybe before I offer this to anybody or try to help anybody else out, I'm going to trade a 200K challenge, which I did, following their rules, into profit. But by the time I had traded the account, they changed rules, didn't say anything about it, and then denied me when I requested a payout. Along with that, they were denying everyone. If you logged in on anything more than 1 or 2 devices, you were immediately denied when you went to withdraw. So that sucked. And again, just to talk about me and my history, if this is worth anything, because it's the truth, and you could have gone back. I took the video off because I just didn't want to encourage anybody. But I put a video up of me using the bot to pass it because it was fun to watch, right? And I had so many people, and if you're from the Discord from way back then, I was talking about it back then. I had so many people reach out, trying to buy the bot, offer me money, pass my challenge for me. And I could have affiliated and partnered with Cortana and recommended it and made a boatload of money. Man, I could have just been hanging out after scamming everybody. But I have a conscience, right? And I got screwed. So obviously I'm not going to recommend everybody goes right down the hellhole of a clear path of disaster. So, that was my experience. Personal, right? Personal to me. But, and I reached out. When it happened, I reached out to them and I said, okay, right? You got a chance to do the right thing. Just give me my money back. You denied me a payout. You're not going to pay me. Okay, cool. I traded. I spent time. I spent my energy doing this. Now you're not going to pay me what I'm due, thousands of dollars. At least just give me the account money back because you changed what I paid for, right? No. So, I think that stuff is, difficult. But everybody's gone through that to a degree, I think, in the past, a little bit, if you've been in this game long enough. But yeah. It was multiple rounds of that. That's not even it. I joke around, I got screwed more times than I like to admit. And yeah, at a certain point, you're like, wait a minute, Zach, you thought you could pass with an HFT bot and just trade these cheap accounts and they were going to pay you? Looking back on it, there's a lot of red flags there, a lot. But that's part of it, man. It's part of it. But now I have a good read. I have a good feel, right? I think I'm able to understand the prop firm industry a whole lot better, having gone through that, which sucked. Really sucked, right? I spent a lot of time trading on different accounts that, I built experience and time, but that I got screwed over at the end and just was never able to take money out from, which sucked. Moved to live accounts, right? Some of that, through that, actually, I was trading live Forex funds. I shouldn't say that. I also had, rather large size. I'm grateful to have, capital that I was trading with U.S. regulated brokers, but not that great opportunity, right? The cost of doing business there is very high. Spreads are really wide. I like the prop firm route. And it was about that time. Along with that, MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, I hated. Other guys love it. I just hated them. They were all going away for U.S. traders at that time, but they were crashing on me. I have videos of them freezing while I'm in a trade. Just nonsense. And it came to futures, right? Early this year, the year before. I gotta actually look at dates, but early in 1 year, after really just being fed up with Forex prop firms, still wanted to go the prop firm route. started trading futures, got much more comfortable, right? I was trading CFDs at the time, so I did have a lot of experience on the instruments themselves, right? US 30, NAS 100, really the least experience on S&P, if I'm being truthful. The most on US 30 and NAS 100, which would be YM and NASDAQ. But yeah, got comfortable. Came in too confident, just to yap a little bit. Different platform, right? Different market, very different. Trading's the same, the candlesticks are the same, but everything else changes. And when you change that cockpit, it's difficult. But yeah, started trading with Top Step. Spent a lot of time getting comfortable there. Plenty of tons of blown evals, and then started getting funded. Got max funded, taking payouts. All that good stuff. And then here we are, May 20th, 2025. I still trade with Top Step. I've got accounts with them. But I'm super bullish on Top 1 futures here. Super bullish on prop firms. I think it's a good way to leverage other people's money, limit downside risk, be able to have a lot of upside opportunity. So, yeah. That's the long story for you guys that have hung out with me this long. But yeah, I got scammed or burned. I don't want to say scammed, but I got burned more times than I would like to admit in the Forex and CFD space. Way more. But I think it helped me, right? I think it helped me stay away from firms that I saw insane red flags from, like fast track trades, like FTT, right? That meltdown that happened. I was cautious at first when I saw other instant funded firms, right? Was cautious around firms like Apex, where I saw a lot of sketchy stuff going on. I really kept it to the stuff that I felt was solid. Faces behind the brand, good reviews, payouts being processed, longevity built into their structure, right? So, but yeah, I've been there, man. Plenty. Thousands and thousands of dollars lost in stuff that is just that I didn't that I didn't fail, right? That's kind of the deal. If I lose my money, which I'm happy to do, I want it to be because I lost a trade, I went on tilt, I blew it. I don't want to lose it because I bought something and then I didn't, I just got screwed, right? The company disappears. You go to log in. What a nightmare, man. Anyway, yeah, guys, this market's super choppy. I know that was a yap fest, but you guys asked me a couple questions, so I was talking about that. Market's pretty choppy all the way back down through VWAP, finding support at this level, like really key level. And, we can talk about that. I've found, prior week volume profile can be very helpful, right? This is a fixed range volume profile that I draw from the entire prior week. And I take value area high, point of control, value area low. And then the other fixed range volume profile that I run is prior days, regular trading session hour volume profile, right? From 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. Value area high, point of control, value area low. Are they magic? Does price always respect these levels? Does always what's happening today happen? No, but I like them. They're consistent. They're objective, right? You can find them the exact same way if you took my definition, the way that I just described, and you plotted them on a Project X chart with the same time frame, 15-minute, you would get the exact same levels. So I like doing that, a little bit more objective. And then, of course, just my visible range volume profile. But this is choppy. A lot of support found down here. We got liquidity above and below. I don't like it as much for a reversion trade, but I'm going to watch it into the afternoon. We start to break to the upside, to the downside. I'm going to see what volume looks like, if that looks like it's going to continue, or if we're just going to continue this chop. But so far, this is, a sell-off, breaking down into that, first 15 minutes, right back up, hold below VWAP, pop to the upside, didn't go and hit my 75s and continue, and then right back down, but like sellers not taking it lower, right? Like this looked pretty good to the downside. Got some decent volume behind that, some decent volume traded right here, but buyers stepping in and defending it. So choppy, rangy, not a ton to work with for me, really trading from the extremes, right? Within this range, if you're a range trader, maybe this is your bread and butter. You're buying, prior week value area high for bounces all day until it fails. Do your thing. But what can you say on instant funding in the CFD prop space right now? Not much, man, because I don't know what's going on with it. I just don't have any experience, so I don't like to. I'm happy to tell you when I don't know something. I don't know enough. Don't know enough about it. Not working with any firms or anything like that right now that would be in that market as far as I'm aware. I just don't know enough about it. So I'm not the right guy to ask, unfortunately. For me personally, as a US based trader, I don't really see the need to touch CFDs or to try to. They're not legal in the US. If you don't know what contracts for difference are not legal for US traders at all. So there's obviously an inherent issue in them allowing us to trade them, even if it's on simulated funds. If you wanted to trade Forex, right? Straight up Forex, maybe I would look to a Forex broker, but you could trade Forex futures. So I would just do that. I love the futures market. Tight spreads, centralized, very well regulated, reliable volume data, order flow, like all of this stuff. So much better, night and day. There's some clear advantages on the Forex side, ability to hold swing positions. There's some other things out there, but for intraday traders, especially the guys that want to trade the US indices, futures is a great medium to do that. So, case in point, I had a GC short 10 minutes ago. I put break even after it went green. Now it hit break even, price just hit profit target. Yeah, there you go, Rick. Yeah, so we're talking about that, right? Again, man, data. I should just put a trade in and walk away. I think that's about the only way without me over managing trade. Yeah, dude. Okay, so again, this is a good conversation before we wrap it up. Brother, if that's what your data is showing you consistently, right? And it's not going to be every day. And it's important to note that. Like, always go to worst case scenario. Tomorrow might be the day that you say, I'm implementing this, no stop loss to break even. My data shows that might be the day that it goes in profit, comes back all the way to your stop loss, and you're going to have to accept that that will happen. But if your data shows more often than not what you just had happen is happening, put the trade on and leave. Now, there's a little bit of an inherent risk in doing that, just in case something goes wrong, a fill or whatever, but put the trade on and leave. Put the trade on and close out and just, walk away. Maybe have it on your phone where, like, in a worst case scenario, set a trading view alert. Like, that's what I used to do. I used to, if I was trading Forex and swing trading, which I was all the time, I would set the trade and then just set alerts, around take profit and stop loss. If you're not going to touch the trade and let it run, why do you got to stare at the chart? If your rule is I'm not going to manage it despite anything happening, it's going to be either a full stop loss or full take profit, just, step away. And it's kind of like, taking the easy road for now. But what will happen, I think, is you'll watch it play out, right? You'll watch all of those wins come in, and it will help you build confidence, right? So take the easy road, anything that you possibly can, right? Whatever edge you can grab it. There's no ego here. And you'll watch it play out, and then I think you will be able to come back to the chart and not touch it because, yeah, man, I just watched the last 8 trades go all the way from break even to take profit, and only 2 of those bad boys went break even to stop loss. I'm more than happy to let that ride all the way to the take profit. So, that's what I would do. Let those bad boys run, walk away, collect data. Continue to collect data. And again, I personally, I think more guys would be better off not going stop loss to break even. This is just a generalization. And if they're going to manage the trade, managing it like based on structure or order flow rather than just straight to the entry point, it's a dicey move, but not everybody, right? And especially if you're aggressive, the way that I am here trading like reversion style, once the thing bounces, if it comes all the way back down on you and you got a really aggressive entry, that's pretty much your validation point. So it depends. But the data don't lie. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up right here. One trade for break even, chop, not a lot of opportunity. I talk about framing trades for after the session. I will. What I'm looking at is potentially up to the 75, 80s. What happens if we get up here, right? What happens if we get up here? Do we have sellers that look like they're stepping in by way of liquidity filling on order flow and a little bit of reversion happening? I might look for a short back down towards VWAP. I'm cautious, though. I'm cautious that we can flip this to a bullish day and just drift higher like we did yesterday. We sell off. I want to see what happens down through the 50s, right? Do we fill liquidity, 50s to 45s? I want to watch what happens. I don't know that I'm looking long on this. If we now chop around after pulling back, come back down below VWAP and sell off. So I'm not jumping into anything like crazy, but that's the areas I'm going to be looking at. Big surprise outside of the trading range, a little bit higher to the upside, a little bit closer to where we're at to the downside. But I'm going to watch price action and market structure. If we sold off really aggressively, I'm looking down towards like the 930s, at this area of high volume to potentially find some buyers, put a low in. to the upside, man, we start to run, which I don't expect. It could be a move way back up, start to put highs in. But first, I'd be looking for another BS choppy movement to happen out of the 80s, maybe, 75s. But we're going to have to see what the market's got for us. Anyway, guys, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. No, not really. Not really watching other indices. I don't find that too helpful. That's going to be another specific to me. But I'll talk about more. Ask me again on the next one because I'm going to wrap it up right here. I appreciate you guys hopping on. Thank you for being here. We got a giveaway to do later in the week. It's not today. Sorry to disappoint. Thanks for being here. Smash like, smash subscribe, hop in the free Discord. I threw that link. More than happy to have you in all of this stuff. Thank you. I'm grateful for every last one of you guys that hops on, asks questions, interacts, shares your story, good, bad, whatever it is. Remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. I'm just an idiot here yapping on YouTube for entertainment purposes only. Trading's risky. Almost every trader loses money. You're probably going to lose money if you trade. Do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content. I can't be unbiased, like Top 1 Futures, Code RDF, Bookmap, and some other ones. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for being here. Great stream. We'll see what we can do the rest of the week. See you guys tomorrow, 9:30 a.m.